Today we're going to talk about a topic that not many people want to hear about, but I think it's still important to be aware of it. And that's, how do you protect yourself when a Pokemon correction happens? Or a Pokemon crash, as many people like to say it. So right now Pokemon is just going up and up, and it doesn't seem like it's stopping anytime soon. But no one knows what the future will hold, and who knows, the correction or a crash could come sooner than you have anticipated. So I'm gonna just mention three things that you could probably use or do to sort of protect yourself so that you minimize the damage when the crash or the correction or whatever you want to call it, slowdown, happens in the Pokemon market. Especially if you're an investor. If you're a collector, probably it shouldn't impact you too much. But again, the definition of an investor and collector these days are not really that clear anymore. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, these are the three things, and it's probably I'm gonna start from the most important and then leading on to the sort of the least important, but it's still important nonetheless. First one is, as always, very obvious one. Stay within your budget. Whenever you buy Pokemon, just make sure that you always stay within your budget. Have a detailed budget drawn up. Have a look at your income and what your important expenses are, and use that to determine what your disposable income is. And once you have a disposable income, decide what percentage of that are you going to allocate to Pokemon investing. And yeah, just do that. Be disciplined, and that should save a lot of problems along the way. What can happen is most of these recent Pokemon investors, what they do is they just have low limits. They don't control what they're spending. They see something is going up, they FOMO, they want to chase, the latest hype. For example, Destined Rivals, just using it as example, right now it's $426 a box. Bear in mind, Destined Rivals released this year and just a couple of months ago. MSRP was $160 and now it's $426. You see, if you have a budget, you set a budget, and you say, for example, let's call it, for argument's sakes, $100 per month. You'd be like, okay, what? My budget is $100, $200 per month. I'm not gonna be able to buy Destined Rivals. I'm gonna skip it. Okay, but if someone FOMOs and thinks, oh no, this is just gonna continue going up, and they force themselves to go and spend $426. So say, for example, it eats into the amount that they should have spent in other important aspects of their lives. Could be rent, petrol, food, whatever. That will cause a lot of issues. Or worst of all, they take out debt to go into Pokemon. That's definitely not advised. Don't do that. None of this is financial advice. Just don't take out debt when you're buying, when you're investing in Pokemon. That's definitely not a clever move. Down the line, it may work in certain cases if the market continues to go up, but when it starts going down and nobody wants the product, and you can't sell it, and you have to sell it at a loss, you will be in a very miserable position. So definitely don't do that. And staying within your budget kind of links towards not being overweight in Pokemon. It kind of links to that. So depending on your risk profile, and risk profile could be a function of your age, could be a function of your own personal circumstances, so very different for everyone, but just make sure you're not overweight for your particular risk profile and risk tolerance. For example, Pokemon is not really a mainstream asset. It's kind of like a niche alternative investment. Nothing like shares, but perhaps it is moving towards something like a stock price, etc. A share or a stock. So general rule, don't allocate more than 5 to 10% of your portfolio into Pokemon. If you're over that, yeah, it's probably going to be overweight, but maybe for your particular risk profile, you're able to take a lot, being i.e. that Pokemon could be 20 to 30% of your portfolio. Who knows, your personal circumstances could be different, but yeah, just make sure you're not overweight, because when a downturn does occur, especially if you're overweight, then yeah, you will be in a position where you might need to fire sell your products. You have to sell at a loss, and yeah, it's not ideal. So that's really the first item. Just create a budget, and don't go over the budget. It sounds easy, but it's actually very difficult to implement. Okay, so that's the first one, and the second one is actually not too bad, and that's somewhat controversial, but anyways, I'm still gonna say it. So it's to reduce your cost basis when you buy any products for investment purposes. And nowadays people are using the term MSRP. Now remember, back in the days, but when I say back in the days, it's really just not too far ago, maybe a year or two ago, or maybe 3 years ago. MSRP is actually not a good deal. You could get products for way under MSRP. Nowadays, MSRP is almost seen as the good price. So my strategy is always try get items at MSRP, especially in new sets. When pre-orders come through, that's when you can get items at MSRP. And later on, market price happens. Don't FOMO. Even if it's a really good set, try not to buy stuff at market price, because that tends to increase your loss basis. You may look like a genius for the period whilst it's going up, but when it comes to a downturn and you're not in a position where you can hold those products, then you'll be in a position where you have to panic sell your products, and that's just not great. But if you are disciplined with regards to your entry price, that you always try to be as low as you can when you enter these products, which for now is MSRP. So try to get in at MSRP and just wait for those reprints to come through, and then try to get in again. This strategy has a con in that you won't be able to take a huge position, especially with scarcity of products these days. So if you want to take a big position, you will not be able to apply this strategy. In that instance, you'll just have to go pay market price, and that requires more attention to the market, and yeah, just more understanding and more time dedicated. So my strategy is get stuff for new sets at MSRP from the beginning, especially when new sets come out, and then just wait for these reprints and then just get in again. Sounds simple, but may not work for everyone, especially if you want to take large positions. But if you're just holding small positions and for every set you're just buying one or two things here and there, I think this strategy can work pretty well for you, because normally with pre-orders there's a limit, and there's one or two items, limited to one or two items. So it works for most small investors. Okay, and that applies to me. Okay, and then third one, somewhat interesting. So whenever you invest in Pokemon, there's sort of three main categories, but there's always more niche markets. So you could either be focused on slabs, PSA, Beckett, CGC, tag, whatever, and then you have singles, single cards, single raw cards, and then you have sealed products. Yes, you can be entering in all three categories, but my third strategy, the third method is focus on sealed. But at least majority of your Pokemon investment should be focused on sealed. When a market downturn does happen, the first thing that's going to get hit the most is slabs, especially the PS10 slabs. They're right now at an all-time high, most of them breaking all-time highs every single day. They're going to get the most hit when the downturn comes, or crash, whatever you want to call it, followed by single cards. Single cards is going to get hit, and then followed by sealed. What's working for sealed at the moment is that there's a deflationary effect in that every single day more and more sealed products are opened, so the supply of sealed products is naturally decreasing. Yes, you mentioned reprints, but I'm just saying, taking into account just sealed products in general. Yes, reprints counts, supply increases, but on a daily basis you are seeing more and more seals being opened, and the supply is just naturally decreasing. Okay, so sealed is just better, and then what kind of sealed? That's a good question. So for main sets, I would go for booster boxes, and if it's really a strong main set, I would go for booster boxes. And ETBs, especially ETBs these days, are getting a lot of attention because they have nice promo cards, and it's generally exclusive to the ETB itself, and you can't find it in the set. So ETBs have its own market. For specialty sets, I would go for ETBs, and if you can get Pokemon Center ETBs, that's even better. But yeah, it's either ETBs or sealed booster bundle display for specialty sets, and then maybe 5% of your sealed collection can be in collection boxes, especially collection boxes with packs and a really strong promo card. And what I mean by a strong promo card, it's either created by a famous artist like Shinji Kanda or Rita, or it has a really great artwork and featured by a strong artist that's a plus, but featuring a Gen 1 Pokemon or a really popular Pokemon. So it could be a Gen 2, could be a Umbreon, Gen 1 Gengar, Dragonite, Giratina, whatever you want to call it. So it focuses on a popular Pokemon and great art, and it's illustrated by Shinji Kanda or a very famous artist. That is just telling you to buy that collection box. Okay. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Those are the three things. So let me just summarize the first three things. Just try and apply these three methods in your strategy, and you should be in a better position when the market does come through. Market slowdown does come through, a market crash. So stay within your budget, number one. Number two, reduce your cost basis as low as possible. So really go for MSRP. I know it's being debated a lot in the community, but yeah, MSRP, try getting that, don't FOMO into these market prices. And then thirdly, just focus on sealed, and especially booster boxes for main sets and ETBs for specialty sets. And that's pretty much it. That should help guard you. Let me just play out a scenario and how these three things will help you. Say Pokemon market slows down, everything crashes 30, 40, 50%. If you stayed within your budget, it doesn't matter. Your Pokemon stock is, a controlled percentage of your portfolio. It doesn't impact your other expenses. You can still pay your rent, buy food, pay for electricity and water. Okay. And then second, reduce your cost basis. You know what? If you enter that MSRP and the market right now corrects 50%, it's still above, most likely going to be above what you entered. So you're not really that desperate to sell, and you won't panic sell. You have the ability to hold longer, and that's the thing with Pokemon. I don't think it's going away in the next couple of years. So even if we do see that massive correction or a crash, over the long term it's going to correct itself. It's going to go back and be even higher than what we have right now. So entering at a very low cost basis just gives you that cushion for you to stay in the market and not panic sell everything, so that when the market recovers, you're in the money. Okay, and the third one, focus on sealed, because in the market crash, your sealed will drop, but it won't drop with the same magnitude as your slabs or your singles. So again, it allows you to have a better cushion so that you won't panic sell. And over time, it's going to do well. So yes, compared to sealed, compared to slabs, sealed may not have a higher return, but also it's riskier with slabs because some slabs won't do as well. So you gotta really know what you're doing with slabs, that you know what to look for to get a PSA 10 or black label. Otherwise you're burning money in the grading cost. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Okay, catch you next one.